welcome to another episode of Sexual My Asexual Life. This is to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in your own. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button down below now. Please hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're liking the content. Well, I'm chilled out tonight. I'm in my dressing gown. I'm in my nightwear. I got little pretty hearts on tonight, so it's all good. And hi Michael, nice to see you. Glad you came at the beginning, like really fabulous to have you. So this is a very special episode that's dedicated towards talking about what to try to invalidate your asexuality. Now this is a really serious topic because it can be very, very hurtful when someone tries to do this, and it's even more hurtful when it can come from some people within the asexual community itself. Yes, you heard me right. So there are some people, very limited amount of people, I'm happy to say, that have tried to invalidate my asexuality, and I know there's many other people that feel like a lot of people in their life have tried to invalidate their asexuality, or they're scared that might have to come out as asexual. One, you have to be very, very strong in your asexuality, and you have to understand that it doesn't matter what people say about you and about your asexuality, how much they try to invalidate you. The fact that you know you're asexual is validation in and of itself, and it is fine. You don't need someone to agree with you, to believe you, or to think you're asexual. You know you're asexual, right? So that in and of itself is a very, very important point. You know, you have to stay strong, okay? Because it doesn't matter what the other person says. You know you're asexual, so you have to stay strong. Now, what can you do to keep yourself strong and help you to be stronger? Get around as many good and positive asexual friends as you can. Obviously, most of these are going to be online, unless you've got a support network in person. So if you are online and you haven't met many asexuals in offline world, or perhaps you haven't met any at all, then, you know, do chat to your online asexual friends. Get support from them, you know. It's good to get moral support because it can be really hurtful when someone's trying to grind you down and saying you're not who you know on life. It can be very disturbing for your soul and very, very damaging. So that your time that you spend with these people, you know, I'm guessing that these people invalidating you aren't anywhere. So yeah, try and get around people, you know, that are gonna give you moral support, you know. And if you can meet asexuals in person, the better, because once you start meeting asexuals in person at asexual meetups, begin to see how ridiculous it is when people invalidate your asexuality, because you'll meet like-minded people and get the support in person that you need. People in person that are asexual, it brings everything to more of a reality of other people being asexual, and it brings much more realism to the term asexual, and realism to your sexual orientation, that is asexuality, because obviously we're 1% of the population, so when you're not seeing asexuals in person, it can be kind of feel like you're swimming in a great big ocean trying to reach out to people that aren't necessarily exactly there, but they are there. It's just hard to get to them, so you have to keep your spirits as high as possible. Now, I've had a person who used to be in the asexual community, I'm not going to mention their name, they used to be in the asexual community a lot, and in 2017 they were writing not particularly nice, and they were on Asexuality. I think I've had 2,000 friends. And people obviously thought this person was, well, because they got a lot of friends, I'm guessing they were quite in awe of the person or quite trusted the person. But I know this person abused their power in the asexual community because of the stuff they were writing to me. And they're trying to, on the last email in 2017, which I didn't respond to, invalidate my own asexuality by telling me that I experienced sexual attraction, and that because when I was a teenager, I had the guy who basically tried it on with me. You know, this is a person that's meant to have sexual. They're now saying they're not asexual, but were they really ever asexual, or were they just basically a troll? Who knows? But the thing is, they told me they don't experience sexual attraction, yet they don't consider themselves asexual. So asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction. So maybe they're in denial themselves, or maybe they never even were asexual. only they themselves know. They believe they were asexual and now they're not, so that's up to them. But what I don't like is the fact the person tried to invalidate my own asexuality by saying I experience sexual attraction when I don't. By you know, concocting something up that out of something that isn't what it is. You know, I've always been open and honest on this channel. I always said, you know, when I was 15 years old, a guy did try and force me to have sex with him, and I stopped him physically. But that doesn't make me asexual. I've had all my sexual relationships after that. I never had a problem with being close. I was naked, doing lots of positions and all that lot. It doesn't, you know. And I don't think me, I do experience high levels of arousal, which I used to mistake for sexual attraction. And that's why I call kissing my grey area as well, because I've got sexual behaviour with the kissing, but I like to keep my clothes on. So, you know, that's where I'm at. But the fact that someone who used to be in the asexual community, who has a lot of friends and probably kind of thought about quite a bit in the asexual community, then decides they're not asexual and wants to invalidate my own asexuality, that's not particularly nice. So how do I react to that? I just don't respond to them, because at the end of the day, they've obviously got some issues and problems of themselves that they're trying to shove onto me, because they don't want to believe that I'm asexual. They don't want to accept it. They, for some reason, they want to I know from what they've said to me, they prey on a lot of people who have been abused, a lot of women that have been abused. And just because, you know, some people have been abused doesn't mean to say they can't be asexual. But there's people that are sexual that I know who've had sexual abuse, and that they don't turn asexual because they've had sexual abuse. They're still heterosexual. I know people like that as well. So it doesn't matter whether you've had abuse or not. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't change your orientation. Yes, there's a few people in the asexual sphere that have lost all interest in sex because they have been had a sexual abuse in the past, and they're just not interested. They have no attraction anymore. They're just not into having sex. They hate it because their experience, you know, made them feel like they don't have any attraction. I've still got strong attraction for guys, you know. I've still got really strong attraction. Like kissing, I'd love to kiss a guy, you know, foreign guy particularly. I've still got strong arousal feelings. I don't like being naked these days, but who knows if I was ever in a relationship, you know, I was naked in the past. It's just that I personally, you know, don't want that anymore, because I thought I had to do all that stuff, you know. So I just think it's really sad when people try and invalidate someone's own asexuality, you know, and I think it's not very nice. I mean, some aromantics, I've got some aromantic asexual friends, and they feel that people are invalidating their aromantic asexuality relationship with another person. So basically, if you're aromantic, people are saying you can't be in a romantic relationship with a romantic person. You can't have a relationship because you're aromantic. Why would you want one? Well, whilst that's true for a number of aromantic asexuals, so because they lack romantic attraction, it's not true for everyone. You know, there's people who want queer platonic relationships, which is very, you know, which is a relationship but with an aromantic person with another aromantic person. There are a number of those people that do want that, and some aromantic people are in relationships with heterosexuals or with other asexuals, you know. So it's not nice to invalidate their wanting to be in a relationship. So, you know, my advice is, you know, ignore the people that are trying to invalidate you, because they obviously have issues themselves where they're uncomfortable with you being asexual. They want to try and manipulate you into what they want you to be or think that you are, because they want to grind you down so you cave in and say, yeah, I'm not asexual, when you are. Don't do that. It's their problem, not yours. They want to, you know, some of them want to use nasty means in order to push you down so far and make you feel bad about yourself so that you don't talk about asexuality, you know. I had a number of trolls, as you know, on this channel. Thank God Michael's a moderator now on here, because we've stopped all that nonsense. But they were trolling, I'm guessing, partly because they found it funny, because it gave them a thrill for a time, and which it wasn't. And, you know, they decided to go along bullying tactics, which is disgusting, and I do not approve of that at all. And I think it's partly because they didn't want me talking about asexuality. You know, because they can't accept it in their brains. They just want to make everything about sex, and they're being disgusting, you know? But it's not, I'm not going to stop being asexual just because someone doesn't like it. I'm not going to stop talking about asexuality just because someone doesn't like it. There'll always be, I mean, I don't like sex. It doesn't mean to say I want to shut every sexual person up in the world, because I've got heterosexual friends. I'm quite happy if people like sex. I don't personally like it, but it doesn't mean to say that it isn't good for people who enjoy it, because if people enjoy it and they get good feelings out of it, then, you know, power to them. I appreciate that in them, you know, but I'm not gonna turn around and say, well, you're not heterosexual, I don't want you to be, or think you're heterosexual, but really you're not, because, you know, maybe you haven't had sex for 9 months and therefore you can't be heterosexual. Of course you still can, because asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction, not to do with how much sex you have or don't have, you know. So just stay strong if you're, I don't see how my being asexual affects anyone else. Exactly, Michael, exactly. You know, it's none of anyone else's business. It's absolutely none of anyone else's business. But some people in their brains, they just can't accept it. But, you know, I haven't talked about this guy on here that's tried to invalidate my asexuality, because I gave up talking to him a long time ago in 2017. But he recently popped up somewhere trying to be very nasty towards me, identifying as asexual. And, you know, it just made me think, you know, how many other people who are asexual, who are suffering in silence at the hands of people that are trying to manipulate them, put them down, twist things, you know, and really it's real manipulation, some people's tactics. I don't think this person is in the norm of necessarily people who try and invalidate people's asexuality. I think this guy's got some serious issues going on, even though he would think everyone else has got issues, not him. You know, that's a narcissistic trait. You know, people who are narcissists, for example, they don't believe there's anything wrong with them. They believe everything is other people's fault, and they're perfectly fine as they are. You know, and they like to use manipulation tactics, as in making you feel so bad about yourself, as in twisting things and making you feel like you're going insane, to make you stop being yourself. I'm never going to stop being myself. I'm not going to stop being asexual because it's my orientation. However much someone tries to silence me, I'm not going to stop my orientation, am I? But I know, you know, there's a lot of people in my asexual groups and they feel that their friends invalidate them. You know, I don't have friends in my life that invalidate me, you know. All my friends are either, you know, accept my asexuality, get on with it, you know, or they are asexual, a lot of them. So, you know, I've come on leaps and bounds, and, you know, I talk a lot to entrepreneurs because, you know, I call myself the asexual entrepreneur, and a lot of my friends are also entrepreneurs, but they're much more open-minded, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them are open-minded, and that's what I like about entrepreneurs. Is that people who are entrepreneur, they're like us, they're different, they think outside the box, they don't just go along with the conditioning of society. So I had a Skype chat with a new entrepreneur friend day before last, and she's like, so what is asexuality? And I was trying to explain it to her because she's not asexual. She goes, oh, I'm having an asexual relationship at the moment because I haven't had, like, me and my boyfriend, you know, or the person that she's seeing hasn't had sex for like 9 months. I said, yeah, but that's not asexuality. That's just the fact you're sexual, but you haven't had sex for 9 months. It's not the same as abstaining or celibacy, which is like a choice that you're just not doing at the moment. Asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of a sexual attraction. You know, it's something I was born with, but I didn't realise it at the time. So I think they got it by the end of it. But it's nice because they're asking about it, you know, they're taking a genuine interest. They're trying to understand it. And of course, people who have never come across the term in their life, it can be a little bit difficult to wrap their head around. But the conversation just carried on nicely. We carried on talking about business stuff because we were really talking about business stuff a lot. But I've changed my profile picture recently on Facebook to incorporate asexuals and entrepreneurs, if you know what I mean. It's got me speaking. I've said what asexuals, entrepreneurs, startups and creatives got in common? We're all born to be different, which I think is so true, because we think differently. We think outside the box and not the norms. So, you know, I just wanted to do this video. So make sure, like, to recap on what you need to stay strong. You need to realise that whatever they say to you does not actually invalidate your asexuality, even if they try to, because you are who you are. No one can take that away from you. It's your sexual orientation. It's your birthright. You know, it's your right as a human being to define who you are. You know, no one can take that away from you. They can't actually invalidate you, even if they try, because you are valid and worthy in this world. So make sure that you know that you're valid and worthy. Get support from people who are in other asexual groups. Obviously, if someone is an asexual group and they're not being good like they should be, and they're trying to invalidate you in some way, then steer clear of that person or leave the group. But, you know, on the whole, I think, you know, in general, the asexual community is really, really good. And I've made, like, in-person friends, and it's been amazing. I love being asexual, you know, but there are the odd few asexuals that aren't great, so just bear that in mind. But, you know, on the whole, asexuals are beautiful. You know, I've had I get lots of support from my asexual friends, especially ones I see in person over in the UK, and it just feels so good. So make sure you get that. Make sure that, you know, you really, you know, have chats about things. You know, don't ball it up if you're feeling invalidated. You know, it's okay to put in a asexual, for example, private group. You know, this person, like, makes me feel invalidated at the moment, and this is what they're saying. If you need that support, go ahead and do it. You know, I know some people in my asexual groups have done that. You know, this person's trying to validate me, and of course we'll probably as a community say, you know, don't listen to them, get a different friend. You know, if it's your friends that are invalidating you, get different friends, because they're not your true friends. You know, the other thing you can do is just keep being strong and keep sweating it out. Like, I had the first two people I told at my old job that I was asexual. Well, sorry, the first person I told, and then a gay friend I told there, they wouldn't accept it for a year. And all I did was keep going on and on about it. So it didn't matter what they said. I just kept talking about asexuality and the fact, well, I'm going to an asexual meetup soon. I'm talking to an asexual friend. I'm in asexual dating groups. This is what I'm doing. And I kind of, like, grinded down their nonsense, you know, because by going on and on about it so much, they just got fed up in the end and gave up and accepted who I am. You know, that's not necessarily going to happen to everyone. There was only 2 people out of the rest of the people in my old job, which was, well, when I first started, it was about 200 people. Thanks for the thumbs up, by the way, I appreciate that. It was about 200 people, you know. There was just 2 that had a problem with it, and one of them I happened to have worked with before, and the other one happened to be a really good friend of mine. And it's like, out of all the people, you would have thought those would be in agreement or accepting, and the other people in the work wouldn't, but it was the opposite way around. But yeah, so a year it took them. But, you know, you can't make people accept you. You know, if they don't accept you, they don't accept you, but then you have to stay clear of it. Obviously, I was in work, so I was bumping into these people because it was in my work, and I would just limit the time I spent with them. But when I did see them, I would say more and more stuff about being asexual, to the fact they did accept it in the end, and they just accepted it as a part of me, you know. So be strong. And I know it's hard. I know it's really hard, because I know these people really get under your skin, or they try to. And they try to make you feel bad and try and make you question yourself. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know you're asexual, I know you're asexual, so that's all that matters, isn't it? You know, these people have obviously got mental problems inside their own head that they can't cope with someone being different to them. Or they like to, you know, some people, I mean, like I said, thankfully, most people in the asexual community are good, but I have come across a couple of asexuals, so-called asexuals, who are like, oh, so you've been abused, is that why you're asexual? And it's like, that's disgusting. That's the worst thing you could say to an asexual person. One, like someone said in my Asexual Perspectives book, one is, you know, if they have had a traumatic event happen in their life, why would you want to bring it up and hurt them like that? And 2 is, it doesn't invalidate them being asexual. If they've still got no sexual attraction, or they have little to no interest in sexual activities, they're still asexual at the end of the day. So why be like that with them? And I just think it's horrible when people try and manipulate you. And especially when they do it secretly, so everyone else in the asexual community thinks they're nice and fine, and, you know, actually they're trying to be they're twisted, you know, they're twisting things and stuff. Like I said, thankfully the community as a whole is really good. You know, you only get a few people that are trolls in there and few people that are sort of horrible or their intentions aren't good. But you're going to get that with any sexual orientation, sadly. You know, not everyone's good, but just think about all the beautiful people there are in the world, all the beautiful asexuals. Focus on all your asexual friends, on all the people that know you for who you are, that trust you and love you and care about you. Focus on those people that really matter. Focus on yourself, you know. Focus on how much, you know, that you are who you are. You know I don't experience sexual attraction. I've even tried when I'm with a guy, a heterosexual person. I'm there in my head thinking, am I experiencing, you know, do I experience sexual attraction? No, I'm questioning. I'm like, no, I haven't got the urge to have sex with the person. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not there. So I even consciously, because I'm a very analytical person, and I even consciously ask myself this. I'm like, I'm snogging this guy. I'm really aesthetically attracted to him. I'm quite, you know, I'm aroused, my body's kind of pounding, but I have no interest in having sex with this person. I don't want him in me. I don't want that. I'm not interested in it, you know? And, you know, I'm trying to force my brain to put myself in that position, but it can't because it's just not natural for it to be in, if you understand what I mean. And it's hard, especially when I experience a lot of arousal. That's very difficult for me. It's kind of like you're a bit stuck. It's like you've got the arousal, but none of the other things that heterosexuals experience. It's kind of like you're a bit stuck. I'm like, okay, love the kissing, love the... Sometimes I like the arousal feeling, sometimes I don't. It's just too overwhelming for me. And I'm kind of like a bit stuck as an asexual, because not many people who are in the asexual community have like sexual behaviour and the way they like to kiss, whereas I do. And it's like I really just don't fit in a lot of places. But I am who I am, you know. I've just got to wait for a nice young guy in his 20s to come along who's suitable for me for a romantic relationship. Do I think it can happen? Yes. But I think I'll be waiting quite a number of years yet, and that's okay. I'm cool with that. Best to get the right person than the wrong one, you know. And I hope that, you know, if it's a loved one that is being horrible about your asexuality, you realise that you've got to get away from these people, this person, you know, you've got to, for your own sanity and health, you know. Sometimes it's hard when it's family, for example, but you have to just limit the time you spend with them if you don't, you know, if they're not supportive. Luckily, my parents, the relationship with my parents, I get on better with them. In terms of my asexuality and them understanding me in relationships with guys, they understand me so much better now. And I'm very thankful for that, because for years they just didn't understand me. They didn't get it. They used to laugh at the fact I didn't want sex with anyone. You know, they didn't get it at all. And they didn't understand why I hated nudity so much. But now they totally get it. And, you know, and if they see young foreign guys, they're like, oh, you know, you'd have liked him, Sandra. It's so funny. So they're quite happy with me being an asexual cougar, you know, liking younger foreign guys but without sex. So yeah, it's really funny when I was talking to that entrepreneur woman. She's a cougar but not an asexual one, a sexual one. But she's like, oh, have you seen my number plate? You know, I've got cougar written on my number plate. I thought it was really funny. She's into younger guys as well, and it's a younger foreign guy she's seeing at the moment, so it's quite amusing. But yeah, obviously I want an asexual guy. I could easily get a sexual foreign guy, but it's quite a nightmare when you're asexual cougar. It's just like, it seems that every foreign guy either wants sex with you or they don't want to know you romantically. It's kind of hard. It's like, come on, surely there's some foreign guys in the UK that actually do want to be in a relationship, that are, you know, in their early 20s, that actually do like an older woman but don't want sex with them. Because it seems to me that mostly that it's just the people that want sex with the older women, because it's like their fantasy. It's like, I'm not interested in that. Do you know what I mean? I just can't be doing with that. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful, helpful, insightful in some ways. If you have, please give a thumbs up, because it really does help raise awareness of asexuality and helps people to discover this video, and hopefully, you know, extend a hand out to them of hope and saying, you know, just don't listen to other people, because you are who you are and you can't help being who you are. In fact, it's great to be asexual. You're so proud of yourself, and it does trait strength of character to be asexual. It really does. But I think that's a beautiful quality about us, that we can be really strong in character. And I think, anyway, it's been lovely to see you. So I'll see you on the next Life Go Lol post, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Be sure to each other. Bye bye. Take care. Bye.